Hello again. Welcome to another episode of Midlife Marauders with Will and Max. Hi, Max. How are you?
Woohoo! I'm good. Another year
Another year.
gone
Oh,
down the tubes, whatever you want to say. I'm trying to think of a more positive way to say it.
yeah, I think you should think of a more positive way of saying it. It's been a pretty good year. So let's rejoice and feel blessed that we have another year upcoming, and we're going to make it bigger and better than last year or this year. Yeah.
Yay! Yeah, I hope
So
people
let's
out
do
there
the
are
damn
feeling good.
thing. I hope so too. Yeah, it's an interesting time, but yeah, hopefully, and I know people are going to be super optimistic when the year turns over, and yeah, it was good. I'm feeling very positive about it. So
So,
yeah,
yeah, so we are past Christmas, a little bit ahead of New Year's. Like, what are your feelings and thoughts, and how do you celebrate usually?
my New Year's,
Yeah.
I have reserved myself to quiet New Year's. I don't do the big New Year's galas and events and spend a lot of money and wear suits and tuxedos and spend a lot of money on champagne and food and all that. This year I'm doing a house party, a small house party.
Wait, so this is different from last year? Like, when did this shift
Oh no
happen? When
no
did
no!
this
This shift,
change?
no, this shift happened a long time ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't think I've been to a New Year's Eve gala in probably 10 years or some sort of
Oh,
big party. I've been to a couple of little restaurants and bars that have had like smaller events where you didn't necessarily have to dress up. Maybe they had a little spread of food and some champagne and that sort of thing, but nothing that, you got to get dressed up for and you look forward to for, weeks and got really excited and you spend a lot of money and all that other good stuff. I haven't done that in quite some time. And I don't miss that stuff, to be honest with you.
yeah, I'm definitely not doing that.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like a curmudgeon or a Grinch or anything like that. I just don't like New Year's. It's my least favorite holiday.
Oh, really? I don't know if it's my
Oh
least
yeah.
favorite, but I definitely don't feel like I have to go out, because it's kind of like a crazy day to go out sometimes for people driving drunk and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, well, yeah, that's certainly true. No,
so
it's
what's this
just
house party that you're talking about? Is it your house or somebody else's
oh no,
house?
no, no, no. It's someone else's house. It's a friend of mine and his girlfriend. It's her house,
Okay.
and she lives somewhat close. And yeah, it's just it's kind of funny because I got a Facebook invitation, and that's whenever I tell somebody or speak to someone that's not in their midlife years,
They're like,
they always
Facebook. Why are you
yeah
communicating by
Facebook,
Facebook?
yeah. I was like, but hey, that's how us midlifers communicate. That's especially when it comes to events or that sort of thing. And that's how we get invitations. That's really the only reason why I keep Facebook is for events and birthday notifications and that sort of thing.
So you're not really
Um,
uploading photos
no,
there?
no, no,
Okay.
no, heck, no, not at all.
Yeah, it
I,
is. It's helpful for events and
yeah,
Facebook
yeah,
Marketplace. Groups, I think, are good on
yeah,
Facebook.
groups, yeah,
Yeah.
marketplace. That's a good one too. So yeah, so this invitation was sent out via Facebook, and I think it's got like between 25 and 30 responses of saying yes. So it'll be a decent little house party. And
That's great.
I've always enjoyed a good house party. There's nothing beats a good house party. And I may reflect back on our youth, when, especially with me in high school and college, house parties was the way to go. That was the best time.
That's like full circle, huh?
Yeah, that's for 100%. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. So yeah, it'll be small and intimate and with great friends and low key. I the host sent out a notification saying, "Please don't dress up. You can wear
Oh, that's
jammies,
nice.
that sort of thing. Be very comfortable." So yeah, it'll be nice. What are your plans for New Year's?
I'm staying home, but you know what I'm most excited about is that because now we're on the West Coast, we can watch
Uh-huh.
the ball drop at 9 p.m.
Oh, that's right.
and get lots of sleep if we want to, right?
Oh, that's
I mean, I guess it's
right.
kind of like when you see people celebrating in New Zealand or
Right,
Australia or
right.
something. It's like,
Australia, yeah.
This is
Yeah.
even more like, oh, I can watch some, Times Square and see the ball
Mm-hmm.
drop and be in bed by 9:30.
Yeah,
So
that's
we're just
awesome.
gonna stay home. We were gonna travel, but some of our travel plans changed, and so I'm good with it. So
Well, good, 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 good. Would you stay up for midnight your time to see what's going on, or you're doing the East Coast celebrations and going to bed after that?
sometimes the kids and I will stay up and like have a little mini slumber party and hang out.
Mm.
So I don't know
Oh,
if we'll
that's
do that
cute.
tomorrow. I think it's a little
Okay,
bit more. I don't have anything really planned. So
gotcha. Okay. Do you watch the television
like
shows
Dick
and
Clark or
yeah, rest in
who's
peace.
in it? I do, and I remember
Yeah,
watching it last year.
Ryan Seacrest. Well, is he
Yeah.
still on? I don't even know. I haven't seen those in
I
years.
mean, one of those it's like we're now what is it? Unplugged. What is it called when you're cut the cord. I cut the cord,
Cut the
a
cord.
while
Okay,
ago, and
unplug.
so it's not like I can get everything anymore, so I kinda just
Right.
watch whatever's live, and sometimes it's like the beat it's not the it's not the popular artists I'm watching,
Oh,
I'm
really?
like, watching, like, that 3rd stage to the side or
Oh,
something
wow.
at Times
Okay.
Square. But I
So
do think it's fun to see who's performing. Last year, I remember it was LL Cool J that I watched, and he was
oh, that's
good, and
good. Yeah.
yeah,
Midlife,
so
a
and, like
midlife
some
career.
younger singers that maybe I don't know of, it's kinda fun to
Hmm.
see who they select.
Well, that's
But yeah, I
cool.
do watch that. How about you?
No, I mean it'll be on in the background for the countdown, but I don't sit there and watch like the performances or anything else like that. No, I haven't done that in quite
It's
some.
definitely kind of a throwback thing to do, right? Like when you're younger, maybe that's the only thing you do because 'cause you're not going out. I don't know. For
Yeah.
me, that was it, that's kind of something that I did when I was younger.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That was the thing to do. But yeah, I haven't watched those shows. It's strange because, at least where I go for New Year's, you'll have those in the background and then the countdown and, cheer, blah, 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 and then I don't see any of it anymore. And this year probably and it's always weird when New Year's is in the middle of the week too. Um
Yeah, this is kind of a weird week. So are you taking
yeah,
the rest of the week off or no?
well, I'm
Are you done?
unemployed, so
Oh,
yeah,
oh yeah, you're done. Oh my gosh,
I'm
that's a whole nother conversation we need
yeah,
to have in
I'm
next year.
semi-retired.
Yeah,
Pray for me.
congrats.
Everybody out there, pray for me.
You'll be
But
fine.
yeah, if you don't know, I took a voluntary separation from my job. I've been there close to 20 years, and they offered me, well, not just me, but long tenured employees. They offered us a separation package, giving us a year of salary and a year of benefits. And I thought that was a good opportunity to switch it up, change it up, especially going into 2025. Everything's going to be brand new. Everything's going to be a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, I'm semi-retired. There's no work. My last day was the 20th of December. So
Yay, congrats. That's awesome. So are you gonna do dry January? Like, I guess my question
uh
is like, are you partying
well,
tomorrow night and
here's
then
another thing I haven't shared with you, Max. I haven't had touched a drop of alcohol since the day after my birthday, October
Oh,
5th.
really? This
Yeah,
was
so
a decision that you made spontaneously, or you have been planning this, or something happened that made you make that decision?
well, a
The
combination
Vegas
of
trip?
several things. Now, well, I just looked at myself in the mirror and I said, I I need to slow down. I mean, listen, one thing we preach here on the podcast is, we are in our midlife years, but that doesn't mean like you have to, you know, act like your
Stop
parents
doing
did or the
anything.
generation, stop doing whatever you want to do. Age is nothing but a number. If you got the energy and the gumption to do something, go ahead and do it. But with that being said, I did realize that drinking and partying was negatively affecting my life and my health,
Okay.
and I wanted to curb that. I
Wow.
yeah, so I gave myself. I'm not gonna put a timetable on it as far as I'm doing dry January or whatever. Woke up after a terrible hangover after my
Hmm.
birthday, and I said, you know what, I need to just stop for a little while, and I'm just kind of pushing myself just to see how long I can go. Now it's been tough during the holidays because obviously with Thanksgiving, Christmas, and now New
Yeah.
Year's, we tend to celebrate with alcohol, and I've been very disciplined. Like I said, I haven't touched anything since October 5th, and I just want to see how long I can keep it going. Now, it
All
won't
right.
be. it won't be forever.
Like
But
tomorrow night, you won't drink. Is that what you're
no,
thinking? Or you
yeah,
okay? Oh, interesting. So you cut
yeah,
cold turkey.
cold turkey, yeah.
Dang, that's
So
great.
yeah, just see how long I go. I don't think I'm gonna make it until I don't think I can go on forever. When spring, summer hits, temperature starts to get a little warmer,
You
cold
traveling
beer,
to Myrtle
beverage,
Beach or
yeah,
whatever.
traveling, that sort of thing, vacation, it's going to be too much for impulse to not be able to do that. But in the meantime, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, good for you.
and I feel great. I feel a lot better. I'm not waking up with terrible hangovers, and I don't want to just sound like I'm a raging alcoholic. I was a binge drinker during the weekend, and yeah, just decided, you know what, I just want to stop for a little while and see how it goes. So here we
Good. A
are.
lot of changes for you, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I made this change, outside of the normal, kind of cliche New Year's resolutions, and we could talk about that a little bit. But yeah, it's not like a fad or anything. It's I'm not, it's not a resolution. I'm just doing it to see how long I can do it. So
Yeah, it'll be great
let's
to
keep it
check
moving.
in later and see how you're
Sure.
feeling, maybe
Yeah,
next
yeah,
month. But
yeah.
speaking of health, I know we both watched some documentaries or Netflix specials on the one on Jamie Foxx, and I watched the one on Celine Dion, but maybe we can talk a little bit about those. What did you think of
Yeah.
the Jamie Foxx one?
So my thoughts on that, I actually watched it twice. I watched it by myself, and then I watched it with my mother who visited here for Christmas. And both times I was really well, let me just make this clear. It's not a stand-up special. I
Mhm.
mean, he does jokes, but
I think they
it's
call it stand-up, but I really didn't think it was stand-up either when I saw it.
uh yeah,
I think
okay,
like on the
maybe
little description or something like
yeah, I didn't read that. But when I saw it pop up on Netflix, I thought it was a stand up. I thought he was kind of like, if you remember when Martin Lawrence had his health scare. He
Mhm.
apparently, I don't know if it was from drugs or whatever, but he passed out jogging, and it was a kind of a life or death situation. And he did a special after that. Now that was a stand up. Now he was kind of poking fun at himself for the circumstances leading up to him having that episode. So I thought it was going to be a similar situation.
Mhm.
And like I said, there were jokes. He made fun of himself, or say people were saying he was a clone after that and that sort of
Right.
thing, and how he made fun or he joked about how he was able to get through the physical therapy and all that other stuff because he was partially paralyzed and
Yeah, he
that sort
shared
of
a
thing.
lot.
Yeah, he did, but it was an emotional situation. It was emotional, when he brought his daughter out, and they
Right.
did a song, and he talked about his daughters and his
His
will,
sister,
his sister, his family, that sort of thing.
all the
His
people, yeah,
reasons,
who helped him while he was
yeah,
sick.
and his reasons for living and going on, and how he had to change and do so. He talked about how he lost his way with, well, not his way, but how he lost, his kind of being in touch with religion and going to church and that sort of
Mhm.
thing, and his conversation with God about what he was going on. It was spiritual. It was emotional. I didn't shed a tear, but if you did, I don't blame you for doing that. But
Did
yeah,
I?
it was good. It
I
was
don't
good.
remember if I think I did a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe when he was just talking about the struggle of,
Right.
people on social media just taking him to,
Yeah.
speculating, and I don't know if
Yeah.
yeah, maybe I didn't really cry. So, but I was moved. I was definitely moved
Right.
by his
100%.
honesty and, kind of
100%.
this near death experience and,
Hmm.
because I think he probably thought he was invincible, he's done
Of
very
course, I
well
think we
and
all think that way
yeah.
at certain times of our life. Yeah, I mean, it was a wake up call to him for sure.
I think the part that struck me that really resonated was that he, in order to keep going, he kept a comedy in his
Hmm.
life. He was,
Right.
maybe acting like different comedians to the hospital staff. And,
Yep.
that's the thing that kind of kept him alive.
Hmm.
So it made me think, what would it be? Probably my family, but what would it be that would kind of keep me going? Um,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting.
Yeah, he kept saying, if I could be funny, I can
Yeah,
survive.
exactly.
Um, yeah, I mean, I've never been through anything like that before, so I wouldn't. When you just said that, it kind of made me think, if I were going through that kind of situation, what would be my outlet or crutch, or how would
Mm-hmm.
I kind of cope with that? And I don't know. I really don't know, because I don't have any kids or anything like that, or I'm not married. So you've kind of depressed me a little bit there, Max.
Well, what he also
I'm just
said
kidding.
was, he would look at other people in the hospital ward who were
Hmm.
much worse off than
Yeah,
him and who
yeah,
weren't going to recover.
yeah.
And I think that's something that puts things in perspective for anybody who goes into the hospital for a serious injury, right? There's always going to be people who are worse off, and maybe, so
Yeah.
you become very grateful and thankful for your life and what you have rather than focusing on what you don't have, so maybe that
Hmm.
helped to inspire him. And I think the fact that he couldn't do it alone, like he needed this community to help him get better.
Yeah.
Um,
And how he is his therapist or whatever kept
mhm.
pushing him, and hey, leave that Jamie Foxx, that the celebrity aside, and you're Eric Bishop now, his real name, the real person. You have to separate those two, and focus in on what you have to do, and because nothing's going to be given to you. Just because you're a big celebrity doesn't mean you're going to get through this any easier than anybody else. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and also, particularly when I was watching it with my mom, because my mom is a very religious woman. I was, the end of it was kind of really gospel like.
Mhm. For
And
sure.
yeah, and I wanted to see kind of how she would look at that,
Mhm.
and it didn't really resonate that much with her, to be honest with you.
Did she
Which
like the
was,
music? Because he was singing some songs and
yeah, 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 I don't, I still,
were you, like, looking at her from the side
yeah,
of
I
your
was
like, kinda
100%.
observing?
I thought she was gonna throw her hand in the air and wave it, and God is good, good all the time, and it just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't resonate with her like I thought it would, and then
Did
which
you talk to
honestly,
her afterwards about it?
I did. I didn't get much out of her about that. I should have probably poked around a little bit more, but I just I just kind of left it be. But yeah, I thought that was going to be selfishly. I thought that was going to be somewhat of a more of a bonding experience.
Mhm.
Not that for my mother, that not that we need it, but it just didn't resonate with her as much as I thought it would.
That's so funny. That's like
Yeah.
when my parents came to visit, and I thought for sure, like I started that series Shogun, and my
Hmm.
parents lived in the time where the Japanese occupied Taiwan, and so my dad can speak some Japanese, and my mom is learning. So I was like, surely
Hmm.
my mom is going to get into this, right? No
Right.
interest, and so I put
Really.
like the holiday, the movie with the um Cameron Diaz, Jack Black, and she was like, "Oh, I like this one,"
Oh,
So
like that.
you never know, right?
Yeah, yeah. You just never know. I just thought that would be like a great talking point. I thought she would love it. I thought she would, think more of it. But it just kind of like, yeah, it was fine. Moving on. So yeah.
That's but we don't know our
Shout out to my
parents as well
mom,
as
but
we
by the way,
we think they do. But I
love you,
mean,
mom.
another I wanted to talk about Celine Dion's documentary.
Hmm.
It's called I Am Celine Dion, and it was about her struggle because she got diagnosed with stiff person syndrome, which is an autoimmune neurological
Okay.
disease where it's something about like if you get really stressed or overstimulated, all of a sudden she has these muscle spasms, and she even had a seizure on camera. Like they showed, she was very open and let them like, I always picture her like all glammed up, with makeup, and she didn't have makeup on in a lot of this. And then they actually showed her having a spasm and being in, severe pain. And it was crazy because they juxtaposed the director juxtaposed it with all these scenes of her singing and dancing and being very mobile, and then all of a sudden she had to stop performing because of this disease, and it
Hmm.
just completely changed her. And just like, I'm sure it was depressing, or she had to be on drugs all the time, and just to take that away from her was, you could tell that was just very debilitating emotionally as well as physically. It was very powerful, but it just made me think, these people are all our age, right? Jamie Foxx and Celine Dion are about our age, and
Hmm.
just how, if you have this big life change, I think it really makes you think, "Oh my gosh, I'm not immortal, I'm not gonna live forever." But I wonder, like, people, if you don't have that, what's the thing that makes you change and make you think about your life in a different way, like you did, you decided to stop drinking.
Right.
But I
Well,
think it was impressive
yeah.
that she put herself out there and, like, wanted to share her story to people in such a intimate way. It's like it was very hard to watch. That one I think I did tear up for.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's interesting that she is able or is putting herself and her situation out there. A lot of times I think when celebrities go through stuff, or even just regular people, they become recluse, and you wonder
Mhm.
like what happened, or why this person isn't famous anymore, and they're not willing to share whatever they're going through, and they just kind of separate themselves from society. So I think it's good that she was able to do that, and
Right, because that's
be
different from
vulnerable and
what
that sort
Jamie
of thing.
Foxx thought about, like, I don't want people to be, creating these memes of me,
Hmm.
with my head, shaking back and forth, so,
Right.
interesting that he really wanted to protect his image,
Right. Of
and rightfully so. I think, social media
course.
is just brutal, right?
Right. Right.
But it was interesting for her to show so much of herself,
Well, I think
um
that's a part of our society now. This era is like because of social media, you have to kind of get in front of the story so you're not portrayed as something that you're not. You know what I'm saying? You can
Right, right,
control the story now,
right.
like, hey, I can do this special, or I can send out a press release saying this is what's going on. You're not leaving it up to the press or whatever to make up something and spread a false narrative or that sort of thing. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
And it
it
is
is good.
cool.
I think just to set the record straight.
Yeah, Max, I think we would be remiss to not talk about the passing of President Jimmy Carter.
I know. 100 years old.
100. That's a good run. It's a good run. I talk to people all the time, somewhat morbidly, about you know what age would you know what would
You
you
wanna
consider a
live
good
too?
run? Yeah, live
Yeah,
to. And I always default on, hey man, I don't care how old I am. I just want to be alive.
yeah.
And obviously, I want to have all my faculties and everything else. I don't want to be a vegetable, but yeah, 100 years old, great run. Obviously he's not he's not a midlifer, but he was, in my opinion, to my memory, he was the first president that I could remember. I
Mhm.
remember, the inauguration. I remember the talk about him running, like how he kind of came out. Well, I wouldn't say from nowhere, but he was like a surprise nominee. A peanut farmer from Georgia. He wasn't from New York or whatever, any big city like that. And I'm not gonna talk about his politics or whatever, but to me, he was, like I said, my first impression of a president seemed like a very stately gentleman, seemed to be, well respected. Obviously there were differences of opinion about his politics, but I think people generally liked him. I think he treated people well. I think he was respectful, and he is kind of the reason why early, I thought about politics, and I
Mhm.
thought how cool it was to be in politics. And when I was a teenager and going into college, that was kind of my little hobby or whatever. I like to talk about politics and that
Oh,
sort of
that's
thing.
interesting.
And
So,
yeah,
because he was, like, a regular guy, because he was
he's
the
a
peanut
regular guy.
farmer turned, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And
president.
it kind of made me feel like, not all the way, but it kind of made me feel like, if this gentleman can do this, then why can't anybody else do it? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
It didn't
right, because it's
seem
a
so
big deal to
far
get
fetched.
elected, I think,
Hundred
yeah.
percent. Yeah. So shout out to President Jimmy Carter, rest in peace. You did have an impact on my life as well as many others, and appreciate your service and everything you've done. And yeah, just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, and I think also, I read an article about how it wasn't just about what he did in office. He actually got criticized quite a bit for kind of some of the decisions he made while in office,
Hmm.
but what was his life after?
Yeah.
He was the president. He really gave back and, did, built a lot of homes for Habitat for Humanity. So just living by example, he was very, he stayed in the same hometown,
Right.
stayed in the same house. He didn't
Right.
go on the speaking circuit to make millions of dollars. So just very
Hmm.
different from what we see in a lot of presidents. So I
That's
think
true.
just
That's true.
a great example. And if you can live that long and still have that impact, it's pretty amazing and still kind of stay
100%.
in the limelight. I think we kind of all followed what he was doing a little bit.
Right. And
So
if you think about, obviously he was a Democratic president, but you think about, the Democratic presidents that came after him, they held him in reverence. It's not, they
right.
didn't, you know, separate him or turn it back. And he supported, all the presidents after that. So, he
Exactly.
was
So
at
like
the,
his
yeah.
values, he really lived his values, I
Hmm.
feel like his
Hmm.
partnership with his wife and, focus on family and community. I think that's amazing. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's get back to some midlifers that are with us right now, still here. Thank God. You had told me or mentioned to me about your or our top five midlife marauders
yeah, we
of
want to wrap up the year and
2024.
kind of
Yeah, 100%.
recognize who we thought were the top 5 marauders, midlife marauders this year. And we kind of both went on our, did this kind of separately. We didn't kind of
Hmm.
come up with our own. So maybe we can
Right.
just alternate one by one. You pick yours first and
Well,
tell me why.
I'm going to cheat a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to bring up one that we already talked about. Obviously Jamie Foxx. Who, in my opinion, is how people always talk about celebrities that they would want to have a beer with.
Mhm.
He would be mine.
Okay.
Obviously he's funny, he's entertaining, he sings, he plays piano, he acts. But kind of his comeback story from this health scare that he had, and was able to bounce back. He seems good. He obviously did that special. He's got a movie coming out with Cameron Diaz very shortly, and he's still doing his thing. So shout out to Jamie Foxx. That would be in my top five of midlife marauders for 2020.
Okay, that's great. That's a good way to think about it. Who would you want to have, coffee with or
Right.
have lunch with? I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at my list. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
start
I'm
out with
glad you
who I.
said that. Yeah, because I don't want to have a beer with him anymore. Yeah, coffee or lunch is cool.
Okay, you can't have a beer. Okay, so of my 5, I thought about this quite a bit, but now that you pose this question about who would I want to have a beer with or have coffee
Mm-hmm.
with, I think it would actually be Little John out of my
Little
list. He's
John.
53
Okay.
years old. And I've
Okay.
talked about him earlier, in previous episodes, but he put out 2 meditation albums this year. And so
Hmm.
what I think is cool is when people kind of pivot, like they've been known for something for a long time. Like he's been known for his music for a long time. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, he puts out these meditation albums. So I think that's kind of cool, partly because my personality, I have lots of different interests. So if somebody can make that work and try something different, like it doesn't care, like, oh, does this go with my brand or whatever? But I just think, and I find his voice to be very soothing, and it's different from like your normal spa voice, right? That you might hear somebody doing some calming meditation, and his is calming too. But I just thought, you know, I wouldn't have guessed that he would put out 2 meditation albums. And so I kind of like that pivot. And then I also like, he showed up at the Democratic National Convention. So he's just kind of popping up here and there and still relevant, but also trying new things. So he's my pick of who I'd want to, have lunch with or have a coffee with, and kind of ask him more about his life. So Little John, come on to the podcast.
Yeah, please, please, and thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Shout
So
out to
that's me.
Little
And he's
John.
53. So he's a little
53.
bit younger than us, but, in that
Okay.
range.
Well, speaking of 53, my next one would be Cat Williams, and
Okay.
I don't really remember the timing of it, but well, I no, we started the podcast before he did the Shannon Sharp interview, but
But
he
I think we
kind
talked about, yeah, we talked about it,
yeah,
right?
100%. He broke the maybe that's not the right word, but his interview on Club Shay Shay, I think, was the most talked about interview
Mhm.
of 2024. How he exposed, celebrities and the Illuminati, so to speak, and just blew all of our minds with what he had to say, and was so real with it. Now, I don't believe everything he said, but
Doesn't he have
I,
beef with Jamie Foxx or no?
no, 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 no. It was more with like Kevin Hart and
Mm.
Cedric the Entertainer and who's the guy that does the Family Feud now? I can't even think of it. Steve
Steve
Harvey.
Harvey. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the way he was just willing to expose people and, just talked about his life and, how real he is was so eye opening. And it was just talked about for so long. And it made me, it was relevant to me because the interview was so compelling that it actually made me start to listen to more and more podcasts because I kind
Mm-hmm.
of wanted to hear more interviews like that. And it actually kind of affected me with this podcast because, it made it cool to be vulnerable. It made it cool to talk about your truth and not worry so much about what could happen and that sort of thing, or what other people's opinions are about you. So it was very influential to me, very influential to the culture, very talked about. So he would be my next midlife marauder, one of the great midlife marauders of 2024.
And I think his gift is really being able to speak kind of on the fly, kind of impromptu. You
Oh
know what I mean? Like to
yes,
be able to
yes,
react quickly. And I mean, because I
yes.
watched one of his
That's a
stand-ups
great
and
point.
I can't remember the name, the recent stand-up
I
special
don't
that
know.
he had. I think it's on Netflix, but
Right.
I wasn't as, I mean, he's funny, but I wasn't as impressed with kind of his quick wit,
Mm,
when he's doing the interview. So,
right.
but yeah, he's definitely got the gift of gab.
Sure.
Um,
hmm
yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good
you're
pick.
right. You're right about that quick wit. To me, that's a sign of intelligence.
Yeah.
When people can come up with things on the fly, like that, jokes, even rappers, who freestyle and that sort of thing. That quick call, that quick memory, that thing, that's intelligence to me. And that's a great point that you made, and I didn't really think about that, but yeah.
Well, I think he's taken some people down, so I wouldn't want him to be on. I wouldn't want to be on his bad
No,
side,
no, no, you
you
definitely don't
know.
want to be his bad side. No, 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 no. You don't want to try to exchange jokes with him. No, 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 because no, not at all. Who you
Yes.
got next?
That's a great pick. Okay, so I'm going to go kind of younger in the. So we
Okay.
were saying midlife could be 40 to 60ish.
Right.
So I'm going to just say two of my younger ones and
Okay.
why. So the two are people that I don't actually, none of mine are like people that I like have followed for a long time. So one is Kim Kardashian, she's 44, and then John
Mm,
Chu, 45. So Kim
okay.
Kardashian, now I actually had to research her a little bit, but I had read something, she helped somebody get out of jail, right? And I
Right.
guess
Right.
she's in law school. And so I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool that
Mm.
another pivot, right? Like she
Another pivot
is
for sure.
known for fashion, beauty, whatever, and keeping up with the Kardashians. But I just thought, wow, she's kind of staying in the limelight for something very positive and
Right.
impactful because she's working on criminal justice reform. And then you think about Yeezy, like he's always in the news for some drama, right? And so I
Mm-hmm.
thought, she's pretty impressive, and she has some new line of clothing and is doing very well in all aspects. She was in a American Horror Story this year. So that was one of my picks. So on the younger end, but 44, and somebody that I don't, I didn't watch her show or anything. So I kind of was surprised that I came up with that of one of my picks actually. And then the other person is John Chu. So he's the director of Wicked. And I love musicals,
Okay.
but I
Okay.
just saw the movie. And so he
Okay.
also had directed a couple other things beforehand, In the Heights, which is another musical, and Crazy Rich Asians. But I
Okay.
didn't, it was just an amazing movie. And I feel like Wizard of Oz was like this cultural, it was a movie that almost everybody has seen. And I feel like this is like a modern take on that, and it is a modern take on it, but I didn't expect it to be so good, and I think he was very successful in that. So just creating this, even though my kids hated it, but just creating something that just kind of took the world probably by storm, and just being this midlife, he's still young, but I just thought it was interesting. Basically put himself on the map more so than he was before. So those are
Okay.
two of the younger ones in my list. All right, your turn.
Well, if we're gonna go on the young side, I'm gonna go with Beyonce,
Okay.
43,
Yep.
mainly because her halftime special on Christmas Day for the Houston, but people watched it because she was performing at halftime, and she did a beautiful job. It was songs from her country album, so I think that was very bold of her to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think her country album was well received, but generally when I talk to people about it, it's kind of weird because they don't want to really bring her into the country fold
Yeah, people
per
don't know what to
se.
do with it, I think.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah,
know. That's a great way of saying it. Um, I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I liked a few songs of it. I'm not that big of a country person, but I like the fact that she did it. She was bold enough to
right.
do it
She tried something
and
new.
try something new, which we talk about all the time with midlifers try new things. And she did it. She knocked it out of the park, and the show was awesome. It looked good. It sounded good. She looked and sounded amazing. She brought out Shabuzi.
Your favorite.
Yeah, easy now.
Because I knew he collaborated with her on some songs, but I haven't heard
Right,
those songs. So
right.
did you like those songs they
Yeah,
did
yeah, they were
together?
good. Yeah,
Because they're on her album, right? That
yeah,
album.
for sure.
Okay.
And she also brought out Post Malone.
Well, nice.
And I think they,
He's always got to be in there somewhere.
right, right. Well, he's another one that isn't really all that embraced by the country
Country.
community. Yeah. So, but I think it's cool. They did a good job, and her daughter was out there with her too, Blue Ivy.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, it was, and she killed it as well. So Beyonce, just for being bold enough to do that and really putting on a great show, and it was well received. Yeah, shout out to Beyonce. So
Yeah,
that would be my choice.
she's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna actually group my other two because they're
Hmm.
similar in age. One is
Okay.
59, one is 60, and one is Ryan Murphy.
Okay.
He's director, producer, writer, all these things. He's the one I think I first knew about him. I watched Nip Tuck long ago, but I didn't know that was him. But I was a big Glee person, so I watched a lot of Glee, and then he's just so prolific, right? He does all of the
Tell me,
American
tell me,
Horror
tell me,
Story.
tell me,
What?
tell me. You were a
There's
Glee
theme.
person.
Why are you surprised about Glee? Because I love music. I love, musicals
Okay,
and,
that's true. That's right. Yeah,
theater and
all right.
yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
bad. My bad. Continue.
Yeah. I mean, I probably didn't watch all. I'm not. There's probably some Glee. I don't know what the Glee fans are. I didn't finish all of the seasons, but I
Right.
watched a lot, probably at least 6 or 7. But
Okay.
so anyhow, he directed probably one of my favorite series this year, which we talked about, Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story, and also
Menendez.
he did
Yes.
the Aaron Hernandez thing. So I think with producer, at least a producer for both of those, if not co-writer for some of it. So anyhow, he just is constantly churning things out. He did the Grotesquerie series,
Okay.
which has Travis Kelsey in it.
Travis
So there's
Kelsey.
just he's just
Mm-hmm.
always in the news, and I feel like as he ages, it's like he's still doing these very fresh, modern, all these movies and TV series. So I think he's amazing. And he's also an activist, so I think there's lots of things that he's doing. He's just kind of crushing, even though he's getting older. And then
Right.
Michelle Obama, I just think she's amazing because she's the style icon. She's almost probably more popular than President Obama in some ways. I mean, people just
Yeah.
love her.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
just got this very endearing quality to her and just
Mm-hmm.
very well spoken, very, I don't know. She just seems very like, I guess she's the second person after Little John I'd want to have coffee or a beer with.
Right. Right.
So, but I think she had every time she opens her mouth, people would just listen, or she's dancing, or she's just doing something fun. Right? She's very fun. So I like that.
Cool. Cool. Good choices. I'm gonna lump my last two together because they're in the entertainment field. I guess all of mine have been somewhat in the entertainment field. But yeah, my next one is gonna be Colin Farrell. Just because I love the Penguin series on
It's
Max,
transformed.
and his portrayal of the Penguin is amazing. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing with yourselves? Go watch it right now. Stream it right now. You know, you don't even have to be a Batman lover or even know that much about Batman. I mean, obviously, it would help to know that he's
A
a villain
villain.
in the Batman
Yeah.
series. But Batman doesn't even show up. The spoiler, he doesn't even show up in the series. But yeah, his portrayal of the Penguin, you wouldn't even know it was Colin Farrell.
I know.
The way he looks,
The
the
way it
way he
sounds.
talks,
Yeah.
it is amazing. And shout out to people that did the makeup work on him,
Mm-hmm.
and shout out to him for because obviously that wearing all that makeup has to be somewhat taxing. It can't be too comfortable. But I mean, he killed that performance. It was amazing. If he doesn't win an Emmy, then what are we really doing? Yeah. So, did you see it?
I started it.
Okay.
This is kind of like my mom not
Come.
wanting to watch
Yeah.
Shogun. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't. Some things are too violent for me. I liked it.
I
I
got.
liked it, but I'll
I
get
get
back to
that.
it.
I get that. I get that. You don't want to watch it with your kids for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, he knocked it out of the park. Probably the best series I've seen this year. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that for right now. And my other one is it's kind of silly, but it's kind of goals for me.
Yeah.
Is Lenny Kravitz?
Nice.
He's 60, but does he look 60? I mean, what are we really
No,
doing here?
I know.
If that's
Looks like
what
he's
60 looks like,
35.
bring it on.
I know, for real.
Now, I will say this. I mean, obviously, I don't know if he's done any work to himself, had any work done. I
Yeah.
don't think he did, but if he
I
did,
think he has
who
good
cares?
genes.
Good genes. But the man is in shape.
Hmm.
He looks phenomenal. He doesn't seem to age. He goes a little too far with like working out with leather pants and that sort of thing. But hey, you know what? Who am I to judge? If you can do it, do it. I wouldn't do it, but whatever. But just shout out to him. He's staying relevant. He looks good. This is a vanity pick for me, but I wish I looked half as good as he does at 60
I
years old.
agree.
So
Yeah, and
so
he's
kudos
got,
to him.
you know, he's older than us, so we should
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
least
I
be in that
mean,
shape.
yeah, goals for sure. For sure.
And
100%.
And I had some honorable mentions. I just
Okay.
couldn't stop. So one was John Krasinski, who's 45, because he was selected as People's Sexiest Man of the Year, which we always
Okay.
love to
Okay.
highlight. Last
All
year was
right.
also
Shout out
a
to him.
midlifer.
Okay.
And then I just like in the Olympics, there was a good turnout,
Representation.
representation of a
Mm-hmm.
lot of midlifers. Celine
Right.
Dion, Dwayne Wade, he's younger, 42, but the Turkish sharpshooter, 51,
Mm-hmm.
Yusuf Dikec. And
Yeah.
I think he had participated in a lot of Olympics, but this was the first time he actually medaled.
Right.
Of course, Snoop was very visible, and then Flavor
Mm-hmm.
Flav, but he's a little bit older. But yeah, I just thought it was great that I don't know if I was focused on that more because I am, these are people of our
Right.
generation, but I thought it was cool that they were out there representing, even though they couldn't actually play the sports, right? They couldn't actually
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
compete,
Yeah.
except for the Turkish guy, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah. You pointed it out to me at the beginning of the Olympics, and then that's all I could ever focus on for the rest of the Olympics is this representation of
I thought it was
these
quite cool.
middle-aged people. No, it was cool, and I'm glad the network gave them the platform to do what they did. With the Olympics as being a young sport, obviously they didn't have to do that. They just could have had young people out there doing all this stuff. But it's cool that we had this representation, and it shows that we're still viable and marketable and that sort of thing. And yeah, very, very cool. Very, very cool. So shout out to all those honorable mentions for sure. For sure. Definitely goals. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so this year, kind of reflecting back on the year, how did you feel? We recognize all these kind of famous celebrity marauders, but how about you?
Hmm.
How did you feel like your year was this year compared to past years? Anything different?
Well, for me, this podcast
Yes, for
was
sure.
was the most marauding thing I've done this year. And I say that because, we started it in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
But just kind of getting it off the ground. Just a handful of episodes, and we're growing. We're growing at an exponential rate, and we're just becoming more confident with it. It's become a big part of our lives. It's something that I'm constantly thinking about, content wise, and we're going to think more about it and get it going a lot more in 2025. uh, Bigger and better. And it's a step out.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's something I don't think I would have even thought I would have been doing just a couple of years ago. And it's therapeutic for me. It allows me to talk about things I wouldn't normally talk about and share things with you. And it's been very, very good, very beneficial in my life. And I just wanted to grow. It's our baby, and we just wanted to get bigger and better, bigger and better and better. Yeah, that would be as far as a goal for 2025. That's right up at the top for me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Because when I was looking at my list, I actually didn't think about the podcast as much, but
Yeah.
I do think it is. I guess what I liked about it the most is that we did it, right?
Did it.
I have a hard time sometimes sticking to,
Mm-hmm.
goals that I set,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we've talked about this before, like kind of just letting go and seeing what happens, right? Like,
Right.
let's just do this and not overthink it. Like, let's just do it and do our best, have fun with it.
Sure.
I think there's definitely areas for improvement, but I think the fact that we were able to finish a whole year of podcast episodes, even when, sometimes life got in the way and we didn't always get to record on time, but just being able to do it, so I would urge people out there, you don't have to have everything perfect or planned, and just see where things go.
Yeah. Take a shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not, and that's the thing. I keep coming back to this. Don't think that you're too old to do different things. I just hate that mentality. I really do. Like,
Or
you
that you're
know,
too old to have something to say, or that something
yeah,
worthwhile
yeah,
saying.
yeah. And people tend to withdraw at this age and like, oh, I'm just setting my opinions. Nothing's going to change. And people can be and are like that, but you don't need to be that way. Everything is out there for you. Information. I mean, you have to be careful where you're getting it, but these opinions and thoughts, they don't have to be set in stone. And you can still experience things. And I just see so many people our age just become very sedentary and just very set in their lives, and don't want to change, and can't change their opinion about anything. And I mean, we're not that old. You know what I mean? It's just like, what are we doing? We're not senior citizens. Yeah, we're not in our 30s or even 40s anymore, but we still can do the things that we want to do. Our even from an appearance standpoint, we can still look good. We can still have fun. We can still do whatever. So yeah, this podcast, that's always been at least my message to everybody out there. And yeah, let's get it popping in 2025. Let's have a good
Yeah.
time and enjoy what we have and be grateful for what we have. And yeah,
I think it's
I'm really looking
also,
forward to it.
you're saying that we're not too old to do we're not
Right,
getting any younger either. So
dude,
there is
that's
a little bit
true.
of urgency to,
Hmm.
if you're thinking about doing something,
Hmm.
just do it and then figure things out along the way, right? Like,
Right, right,
I think
right.
also, doing this podcast made me think about the things that we talked about. Like, we talk a lot about fitness, we talk about health. And so it made me
Hmm.
focus on these things a little bit more,
Right.
even though with the fitness thing, it took me a while to figure it out. But
Okay.
I think just discussing these things kind of helped me focus on, okay, I could do things a little bit better. I could, I don't have to have my life just stay the same. I can try to
Right.
improve things. I can try to,
Well, hell, you
live out
moved
some
across the
dream that I
country.
have. Exactly. Or,
You know?
this year I did, I joined this 50 plus improv class. That was the first time I stepped foot into like a senior citizen or senior community center. But it
Okay.
was like, I saw that and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to join this class and see what
Right.
happens. And
Right.
it's been great.
Right.
So, yeah, so I think it's motivated me for sure to not just kind of sit back and just accept, the years to pass by. It's kind of made me a little bit more proactive about going after things, and that I can shape the future.
Yeah, for sure. It makes me think about, everybody always sets these New Year's resolutions. I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is, I'm going to put it out there, at least to myself, particularly with this opportunity I have as far as employment is, I want to travel a little bit more. I want to do more uh, business ventures where,
That's good.
what I'm saying, where I'm my own boss and that sort of
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm gonna really 2025. I'm gonna really see. I'm gonna really push the boundaries. I'm gonna really see what I can really, really do.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Obviously with taking this separation from my job, that that's something I don't think I would have ever done, to be honest with you, because I kind of was raised and grew up with being, like, you gotta have this, you gotta
Mhm.
security, blah blah blah. It's cool to work for at the same job all your life. You know what I mean? And times are changing. It's I'm trying to adapt to that change and
Mhm.
and kind of change my focus on that.
I
So
know,
I'm
you see a
really
lot of
excited.
examples of people who, work for themselves, and they're
Right.
some of the
And they
the
seem very
most successful
happy. I mean,
people.
they seem,
Yeah.
busy, but being your own boss is something that I've never encountered before. So I'm really looking forward to that challenge.
That's great.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be a good and a big 2025. Support me, pray for me, and I'll do the same thing for you.
Yes.
But yeah, we and circling back, podcast bigger and better, more episodes,
More videos.
more
We'll put more video out there.
video, yeah,
'Cause
more,
usually I
yeah,
get tired after
yeah,
I
more
edit the
guests.
podcast.
We're gonna ramp up our social media presence. We're gonna ramp up our marketing. We're gonna try to get to as many people as possible. Max sent me some stats on 2024, and I'm really proud of how much we've grown. And I was also
We're in
very
8
impressed.
countries now somehow.
Yeah, I mean, like that's mind blowing to me that somebody in Thailand is downloading an episode, or somebody in Australia. That's very cool. And we want more and more of that. Let's get greedy in 2025, Max.
Yeah, and we'll
Let's
try to
let's get out
engage with
there.
more people and pay attention. So,
100%.
we're still growing. So we appreciate everybody who's out there listening, and wish everybody a excellent 2025. I think there's a
Yeah.
lot that you can do, whatever age you are. So
hmm and
hopefully,
yeah, and I just want to conclude. If you are one of our day one listeners, hit us up. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you want us to talk about. I'm not afraid, and I don't think Max either is, to be open and honest and vulnerable. And let's talk about topics that cross our mind as midlife marauders. Let's get it out there. Let's have this dialogue, and yeah, let's get it
yeah.
going.
And if you have a story to share, we'd love to have you on.
One
So we
hundred
haven't done
percent.
much of that because we've just been trying to get the episodes out,
Right.
but we'd love
Right.
to hear from you and see if somebody's interested in being on. We'd love to have maybe a live show one day. So, so
Yeah.
we're open to it all.
Well, let's set that as a goal of 2025. Max. So we're going to have a live show by hook or crook
Okay.
in 2025. We're gonna do something.
All right, y'all. You heard it here.
Well, you heard it here first. Well, on that note, Max, I just want to say Happy New Year to you and your family.
You as well.
It's been a pleasure reconnecting with you and doing this podcast. I mean, you have become, you've always been a friend, but
I know,
you've
but
become
somehow
a,
we
yeah,
reconnected after 30 years. It's crazy.
yeah,
It's a
yeah, that
funny
is
way to
crazy.
reconnect and catch up. So, other
100%.
people
And
out there, if there's somebody that you need, were friends with a long time ago, try to reconnect.
absolutely, life is short. But yeah, I appreciate you. And just
Same to you. Have a happy, dry New Year party, New Year's Eve party. All right. All right. Bye bye. Take care.